When it seems like the season is over and there's not much to play for, the Miami Dolphins get loose and absolutely annihilate the Buffalo Bills 30-13. It's the Buffalo Bills' first divisional loss by more than 7 points since 2018. And the Miami Dolphins just handed it to them. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you are new. Dolphins win. Let's talk about it.
Loses the football. Touchdown.
You have got to be kidding me.
Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score.
Field down the near side, man open. Touchdown. The run from Tua Tagovailoa.
Touchdown.
He's going deep. He's got it for a touchdown again.
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go! Off the back of an incredible performance by Achane, where he put up 225 all-purpose yards as well as 2 touchdowns, the Miami Dolphins defeat the Buffalo Bills 30-13. Buffalo scored 13 points in the fourth quarter and looked like they were going to try and make it interesting, but the Dolphins managed to outscore them in that quarter after outscoring them in the first half. Unbelievable stuff, man. And that defense, can't say enough good things about that defense. Ethan Bonner struggles, hits the pine. Jason Marshall starts making plays. Some big plays on Keon Coleman. Jack Jones making big plays all day. Jordan Brooks and Jack Jones forcing fumbles that were both recovered by the Dolphins. You got Minkah Fitzpatrick breaking up passes and recovering fumbles. You got the Ifeatu Melifonwu interception when it looked like the Bills were driving on that opening drive to start the second half, and it looked like they were driving for a touchdown, and Ifeatu Melifonwu said, "Not today, thou shalt not pass," and intercepted Josh Allen. Unbelievable stuff. Shout out to Penn. She goes ahead and she gives 5 Phinside the NFL memberships. Listen, I get it. I understand those in the chat that are like, man, the Jets lost today. Sorry, the Jets won today. The Saints won today. This was a chance to move up. Screw it, baby. Listen, I said, if we only win one game the rest of the season, let today be that day. And it was. Jalen Phillips, who? Jalen Phillips, who? Look at us, getting chances with pressures, and we are finishing the sacks off in the fourth quarter today. Chubb got called for a pretty lame taunting call. I mean, he did teabag him a little bit, I guess, but a pretty lame taunting call that led to the Jackson Hawes touchdown. But the sacks were stacking up. And I love it, man. The defense was making plays today. I thought Juju Brents, now he did get injured and leave the game. Juju Brents was one of the biggest bright spots today for the Miami Dolphins. And I've said this, listen, I can't sit here for the rest of the season and just willingly watch bad football. I just can't do it. And listen, here's the reality of the situation too. I don't think the Miami Dolphins will run the gauntlet. But you've got the Commanders, the Saints. You got a real chance to walk into Pittsburgh December at 6-7. Now, then it gets a little dicey because you got the Steelers, you got the Bengals, you got the Bucks, and you got the Patriots. I just don't see them winning out. I just don't see them winning out. Now, could they? Hey, anything is possible. But I already didn't think they would have a shot with Dante Moore going back, with Lenore Sellers going back to school. I didn't think they'd have a shot at Ty Simpson. I didn't think they'd have a shot at Mendoza. I've said this. I think they're going to have to target a guy like Brendan Sorsby or Taylon Green or someone like that. I just don't think they're going to have a shot. So unless you're going to get number 1, 2, or 3, I don't think you're going to have a shot because the Titans are going to be there, so you could possibly trade up. I don't think you're going to have a shot at one of those quarterbacks. And, I'm sorry, the Dolphin fan in me, the football fan in me, I can't willingly participate in wanting to watch terrible football the rest of the way. I just can't. I'm sorry, I just can't. So, Windtown, USA, population us right now, Matt. And I'm loving it. Other Matthew says, if you beat the Bills, anything is possible, Reason. Hey, anything is possible. Devon Achane has to be out of his mind the rest of the way. And so does Jalen Waddle. Listen, Tua. I'm going to tell you this. Miss me with that punting with his arm narrative, okay? Jake Bailey had punts of 53 yards and 61 yards today. He had one punt that pinned the Bills inside their own 5. So, listen, the first pick, cool. We can get over that. That second pick, when we're only up by 10, 16-6, throwing off your back foot and just throwing up a prayer, I didn't think either was a good decision. The first pick was thrown into bracketed coverage on Jalen Waddle. The second one was, if you watch it, it's all off his back foot. He's falling back. He throws it up. I don't like it, but we won. But you can't have those in big games. Greg Dolchich, I agree with the chat. Tanner Connor, who was cut this week, Greg Dolchich is 110% better than Tanner Connor ever was. And, in the chat, I see you talking about Tua's footwork. That's been Tua's biggest issue this year. The mechanics have been a problem. The mechanics have been a problem for Tua. Like, go and watch that second. He's not driving footballs enough with the footwork. But, listen. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Are you a true Dolphins fan if you're mad at a win, this dominant of a win, no matter our record over the Buffalo Bills? How can you be mad at this? This is only the second time in the McDaniel era we've beat them. Right? We haven't beat them since 2022. We haven't beat them since 2022. We had lost 7 in a row because we hadn't beat them since September 25th, 2022. We've only beat them twice. Today being the second since December of 2018. Right? We beat them at the beginning of December of 2018, and then we lost on December 30th, 2018. Think about this, man. 7 losses in a row. We had lost 14 of the last 16 against the Buffalo Bills. You think I'm going to be mad today? You think I'm going to be mad today? I don't think so. Now, the question becomes, is McDaniel safe because of this big of a win? Listen, I've already told you guys. I told you guys when he did the show with Neil on Thursday. I already thought there was an 80% chance of this guy returning. So I already expected McDaniel to be coming back for 2026. And I'll say this, McDaniel called a good game today. There were people in our chat when we were getting stuffed in the run game a little bit in the second half. There were people in our chat in the live stream saying, stop running the ball, it's not working. And I was saying, no, you got to keep running the ball. You can't stop running the ball. You got to keep it honest. And sure enough, Achane breaks off multiple rushing touchdowns after the fact. Devon Achane saw everyone expecting James Cook to have a big game against the Dolphins and not talking enough about him. And he pulled a Michael Jordan where he said, and I took that seriously. But, is Mike McDaniel safe? I think he was already safe. I think Stephen Ross is sitting back saying, I made the right decision. I got rid of the right guy. That's what I think he's looking at this. He's sitting there saying, I got the right guy. Someone asked, would you take 2 first-round picks for Achane? I mean, that's crazy, obviously. But I'm going to tell you this right now. If a team's offering 1 first-rounder, it's got to be in the top 10 for me to even start listening. I agree, Penn. McDaniel called a good game, makes it more frustrating. Could have been doing that all along. I agree 110%. Now, what you do here, sticking with McDaniel, is beating a team like the Bills. If we do go on a run to finish out the season, this will make it an easier sell for a general manager. And we'll be talking about the general manager position this week. Don't worry, we'll be talking about it this week. But this makes it easier for you to sell the team to a general manager. There's 2 ways you can sell a team to a general manager. If you have top 10 picks and you turn around and say, listen, you want to move off Tua? Knock yourself out. We're keeping him on the roster. You can bench him if you want it for the new guy, but we're keeping him on the roster because of money purposes, but don't let him being a part of this team hold you back. That's number 1. Number 2 is you win out and you turn around and you say, hey, listen, look at the run we made on. We just need some tweaks here. Now, when you fall in between of you lose out the rest of the season and you say, hey, you got to make Tua the starter and you got to stick with Tua, that's when you're running into problems. It just is what it is. People in the chat telling me Drake May balling. Listen, I'm the last person you need to be telling this. Remember, who was the guy telling all y'all Drake May was that dude in that draft class when everyone was saying Caleb? It was this guy right here. Just like I wanted Jackson Dart last year for us to draft him. I told all y'all Jaden Daniels and Drake May were my man crushes, and I thought the best guys in that draft. The football could have been cleaner if not for Tua's picks. So I think McDaniel called a good game today. I think there's been a couple instances this year where he's called a good game and execution and players have let him down. 110%. I thought he called, and sticking with the run. I want you to think about this. The Miami Dolphins ran the ball 32 times today. People asking what the timetable for Ollie Gordon was. Ollie Gordon had a rush for -3 yards today. But we ran the ball 32 times comparatively to only throwing it 21 times today. So, I'm just saying, I mean, when you stick with the run, look what happens. Achane averaged 7.9 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns today. Right? Obviously, the big news were the 2 big touchdown runs he had. The 35-yard touchdown run at the end there and the 59-yard run before that. But let's be real here. That 38-yard touchdown pass from Jalen to Jalen Waddle from Tua was absolute money. Did Waddle have to slow up a little bit? Yeah, he did, but it was still a money bucket throw. The Malik Washington touchdown was a nice throw too. Tua did have a few nice darts today. But, man, look what happens when you run the ball, you control the line of scrimmage, and you win in the trenches. Look what happens, man. Look at the results you get. A dominant win over them. So, yeah, I think McDaniel's safe. I really do. I really do. I think he's safe. I don't think he's going anywhere, man. I don't think he's going anywhere, man. I really don't, if you want my honest opinion. Now, let's talk about something else here I want to talk about. Shout out to Hammer. I retweeted that, brother. Appreciate you. Anthony Weaver. This defense has really started to turn around. I thought they were fantastic in the first half last week, and our offense let them down. What you saw today from that defense, fantastic. Even after trading Jalen Phillips, didn't look like they were better without Phillips than they were with him. Now, as frustrating as Penn pointed out it is to watch McDaniel call such a good game and you say, hey, where was this the rest of the year? You say the same thing with the defense. I'm going to tell you right now, if the version of the defense we got today in the first half of last week showed up in the first 8 weeks of the season, ladies and gentlemen, you would have beat the Chargers. You would have swept the Bills. You would have swept the Bills. You would have beat the Chargers. You would have swept the Bills. You would have pulled it out against the Panthers. And you would have beat the Patriots. You would have 4 more wins on your record right now. This team would be 7-3 if we got this defense. And that's what's frustrating to watch this defense play so good. We knew they had it in them. Look at Zach Sealer coming up with his first sack today, and it was in a big, crucial moment. Look at what they did. They didn't even have Chop Robinson today. You traded Jalen Phillips. You had no Chop Robinson, and look at what they did today. And now we're sitting here looking at the schedule. You've got the Commanders, the Saints, and the Jets over the next 3 weeks. You could be walking into Pittsburgh 6-7. That's what's frustrating. Think about this. If we got this defense and you're 7-3, okay, you got a chance to be 10-3 heading into Pittsburgh if the defense showed up like it has to this week and in the first half last week. And then I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to be real with you. With the Steelers, the Bengals, the Bucks, and the Patriots, they would have won at least 2 of those. This could have been a 12-win team if we got this defense in the first 8 weeks. That hurts. That's what's a real kick in the gonads. Is if this defense showed up, this team is potentially 7-3 right now and 10-3 potentially heading into Pittsburgh. Listen, I've criticized Tua's interceptions today. I thought they were awful decisions. I thought they were awful throws. I thought his mechanics, especially on the second one, were terrible. But he did enough in those 4 losses we had. The offense, I'll say, not him. The offense did enough against the Chargers, the Bills the first time, the Panthers, and the Patriots, where if this defense was anywhere near what we got today, this team is sitting. And guess what? You want to know what is even more of a kick in the nads? I'll tell you this much. Here's an even more kick in the nads. If this defense shows up like they did today, guys, after the win today, we'd be first place in the AFC East. Let that one, put that in your pipe and smoke it. We wouldn't have been sitting here depending on Tua, who's proven he can't get it done on final drives when we need him in those first 5 weeks. We would have been sitting here not needing him to do that. We wouldn't have needed him to do that. Man, impressive. Impressive win today. Very impressive. If I'm going to hand out some game balls from today too, obviously offensively, and the biggest game ball goes to Devon Achane, and it's not even close. But if we're going to go defensive game ball, man, it's Jack Jones or Juju Brents for me today. Even Minka's in that discussion. Jordan Brooks was fantastic today. I keep talking about extend Achane, extend Jordan Brooks. You got to extend Jordan Brooks. Absolutely fantastic. I think you pick Juju, you pick Brooks, you pick Jack Jones for your defensive game ball. You are not hearing an argument from me at all. At all. They were absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to sit here and tell you this. Achane again proved today why he's someone you build around. He's a building block. I'll even go as far as Jalen Waddle. The targets really stopped coming his way again, right? Jalen Waddle had 6 targets in the first half? And I think he only finished with 7? Again, not even double-digit targets for Waddle. Not even double-digit targets for Waddle. And that's what you got. And Greg Dulcich, man. Oh, I mean, I know a lot of us, including me, were hyped when we got him in the offseason. He's been fantastic. Man, I give Brewer credit all right now. I'll tell you, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Patrick Paul and Aaron Brewer are the 2 untouchables on the offensive line for me. You know? I mean, that's not even a discussion. For me, at least. Shout out to J-Boy Smith. Comes through and donates 5 Phinside the NFL memberships. J-Boy and P-Street growing the Phinside fam today, and I appreciate y'all. I would be signing Achane to his extension this offseason. Yeah, Strange did play. Yeah, you know, good point, Aaron. Strange even played good today. He had a really good second level block I remember seeing today on one of the Achane runs. And I know Jalen Wright didn't get a ton of runs today, but man, he was running physical. That one run he had, dude, whoo-wee, where he broke the Joey Bosa tackle with a stiff arm, and then he dropped the shoulder on Colt Bishop and just knocked him out of bounds. What a great run. That was a great run. That was great stuff, man. So let's talk about a couple of things today, okay? There's a couple of things I do want to cover with you guys that I don't know if you guys saw. So if you didn't see, some news broke yesterday about Devon Achane from Tom Pelissero and everyone over there. I want to show you this. I got this excerpt clipped up. Let's take a look at this. Check this out. So this is from Tom Pelissero yesterday. And he said, while the focus publicly was on Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, and Jalen Waddle, sources say the Dolphins received significant interest in running back Devon Achane. It seems the speedy 24-year-old generated as many phone calls as anyone, with Miami settling a second-round pick and more as the price. That never came to be, thanks in part to Achane being in a contract year and due for a significant payday, but there was plenty of intrigue for Achane. Now, he's not in a contract year. Achane has one more year left. Next year is Achane's contract year. And I'll go back and I'll say this. I tweeted out yesterday, Achane is not the type of player you trade away. He is the type of player you extend and build around, right? I've told you my feeling. He's a souped-up 2025 version of Reggie Bush. Calling Devon Achane a running back is a disservice to what he is. He is a legitimate weapon. Achane is a legitimate weapon. He is much more than a running back. I mean, we've seen him run some pretty good routes and make some pretty nice catches in the end zone as a receiver. Okay, I was saying last year when Tyreek Hill was on this team and not hurting out, he was a better offensive weapon last year than Tyreek Hill was. You pay Achane. You do not trade Achane. And for everyone who's worried about his size, he hasn't given you any reason to worry right now. What worry has Achane given you to worry about his body or his size? He's given you zero. Zero. Never mind running back. Devon Achane's one of the best weapons in the league. You keep that, especially if they're going to draft another quarterback. You don't want to make the cupboards bare. You want to give them as much help as possible. So, and look at this. I want to say this to you. How mad would you be knowing what you, and yeah, we're using hindsight, but you already knew it before what happened today. How mad would you be if you only got a second-round pick for Devon Achane? The guy is the Bills' kryptonite. This guy is the Bills' kryptonite. We have found a guy who consistently shows up against the Buffalo Bills, a team you can't beat. You've only beat twice out of your last 16 visits. You do not get rid of that. You keep that in-house. Here's a stat. We have only twice in 4 years had our intended starting O-line in a game. And one of those, correct me if I'm wrong, numero uno, one of those was when we dropped 70 points on the Denver Broncos, was it not? Because, and back to the Achane thing, a second-round pick for this guy? You would have to give me a top 10 pick for me to even start listening to you. I'm going to be completely 110% honest. You would have to give me a top 10 pick. You think you're going to find another Devon Achane in the second round? We lucked out once. You really think you can luck out twice with that kind of player? You really think you can luck out twice with that kind of player? Come on. There ain't no way. There is no way you can luck out twice with that kind of player. I want to be here. I'm glad neither one of us, Achane, Waddle, is gone. Dolphins, Devon Achane. That's what he said today? That's what he said today? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just can't get down. I just can't get down on that. I think trading him would have been a mistake. I honestly believe that. Second round pick, please. You can't convince me that would have been a good move. You just can't. I'm sorry, you just can't. Now I want to show you guys something else here. Check this out. If you haven't had a chance to see this. According to Tom Pelissero, the Bills were the high bidder for Dolphins wide receiver Jalen Waddle and also tried to acquire Quinnen Williams before Tuesday's trade deadline per sources. In both cases, their AFC East rivals ultimately gave Buffalo no help in its push for a 6th straight division title. Imagine trading him. Like, what pick would it have been? First round pick would have been, what, 30th? Because apparently they were offering, like, 2 picks, a first plus more. That is the word on the street, that they were offering a first and a third. Now, me personally, no thanks. No thanks. Not happening. I'm not doing that. That's just not good enough. So, and imagine having to watch Jalen Waddle catch passes from Josh Allen. Can you imagine having to watch that? Like, that would be pain. Like, we've already been through enough as Dolphin fans. John C. says, no chop, no Phillips, but good pressure today. And they were finishing sacks, John. It was beautiful to see, let me tell you that. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Great stuff, man. Rhino says, anyone that would make that trade needs to get brain replacement surgery. I agree. You can't help. I mean, do you know what I'd be asking for from the Buffalo Bills? For anything? I mean, I'd be seriously asking for a lot. More than they're probably willing to give up. So, I mean, like I said, no, I don't care who you are. If you're a non-division rival, and I'm not having a conversation with you unless it starts with a top 10 pick. What do you think I would ask from the Bills? I'd be asking for an arm and a leg. And I ain't taking any less. Topher says, I was actually really pumped. I told Tua on some third down calls to let her rip downfield and kind of act as an opportunity ball, act as a punt. So McDaniel confirmed today that he was allowing him to punt the ball away. Get Simpson and let him sit a year. You're going to need a top 3 pick for Simpson, brother. I think there's a legitimate chance Simpson goes ahead of Mendoza. Better athlete. I think he's got the best feet in the class. His mechanics are really good. I think there's a legitimate chance Simpson can go ahead of Mendoza. I know Dolphin fans are, salivating over that comeback win. But there's a real good chance. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Mendoza is the number 1 pick. You got Dante Moore's going back, Mateer's going back, Sellers is going back. I'm at the position where if you're not going quarterback, I want Fano, Moigoa, or Arvell Reese. That's where I'm at. Give me Fano or Arvell Reese or something. I like Ruben Bain. I think there's a real chance, and I've said this. There's a chance Ruben Bain might not even be the first edge rusher off the board. And I've been trying to prepare people for this. I do think there's a few other guys like TJ, I don't know if TJ Parker goes ahead of him, but I know a guy like Cassius Howell. I think that's a real, I know people are really high on Cassius Howell for sure. I know everyone likes Keldrick Falk from Auburn as well. And David Bailey from Texas Tech, I think, is going to really, really rise here. The problem with Ruben Bain is he's not going to be as good of an athlete. That's the problem. There's going to be better athletes. So, yeah. That is the issue you're going to potentially be dealing with. So, I don't know. There's a real chance he doesn't even, he might not even be the first edge off. So, there's still a lot of football to be played, man. There's a lot of football to be played right now. So, I know Miami fans really want him. But, it feels to me like Moigoa makes more sense, no? We'll see. But, I want, if you're going Miami, I think Spencer Fano would be the right tackle I want the most. That's who I really want. If you're going right tackle, I'll take Moigoa. I'm fine. But I like Arvell Reese a lot too. You know what I mean? I think Arvell Reese, I'm going to be honest with you. I think Arvell Reese is the best player in this draft. To me, Caden Proctor is going to be kicked into a guard. I know people are like saying, well, Moigoa is a guard. Moigoa is the same size as Will Campbell. Right? I think Proctor, I see more guard with Proctor. Fano, yeah, he is more polished than Moigo, I think. I think he goes higher. Well, I know Proctor has he's played the last 3 or 4 games, he's been much better, but he really struggled for the first half of this season. And I don't know. My issue with Proctor, you know, it's a few things. I don't like, for me at least, you know, I think he's got issues with his like, I don't look at him, you know, I don't know, man. I just look at him and I see, you know, glimpses of good foot speed and quickness. But, I mean, I've just been seeing him get a little handled this year. Now, like I said, the last 3 or 4 games, he's actually been a lot better. He's been a lot better, I thought. I think his footwork can get real sloppy. I know he's physical. He's super physical, so I don't think shifting inside, I don't think that'll be a problem for him in terms of handling the power, right? But he's been beat pretty bad. You know, like he's been beat with inside moves pretty badly this year. You know, he's had to get real handsy because he's been beaten inside. You know, for a guy that's that powerful, he's had problems being left on an island this year. I just don't think, you know, I know he's shown flashes of good foot speed and quickness, but I just don't think he's a great athlete, man. And I think that's going to be his big hindering, especially if you got to leave him on an island. I think he's just not a good enough athlete. And I think you can hide a lot of his deficiencies if you put him inside. That's just my opinion. You know, that's just the way I see Caden Proctor. I just don't see him as a high-level left tackle at the next level. I think left guard's the way he needs to go. I mean, go watch Caden Proctor against speed rushers. That is probably why he's going to be moved to guard. Right? You know, the foot speed is not very good. You know, you see flashes when you look at the tape from last year or the year before. You're like, oh, okay, he looks like he's got decent mobility. And then you see this year against speed rushers, it's been a problem for real for him, right? So that's the problem. The last couple of years I was seeing flashes. This year I've seen him kind of fall off a cliff. I just think he's a guard. I just don't think the athleticism is good enough. And I don't think the feet are good enough. So he's not a guy you want to leave on an island, especially against a speed rusher, you know? So, yes, apparently the Bills offered a first-round pick and a third-round pick. Now ask yourself, is that good enough? The first-round pick is going to be a glorified second-round pick. The third-round pick is going to be a glorified fourth-round pick. Listen, I wouldn't be mad if we took Caleb Downs. I think Caleb Downs is in discussion for best player in this draft too. So, yeah, you know, Caleb Downs, you won't hear me cry, especially pairing him with Minkah Fitzpatrick if they don't move off Minkah. How could you not be intrigued by that? How could you not be intrigued by that? Right? So, that's where I'm at with that. Shout out the sponsor of today's video. That, of course, is Sleeper. Listen, you think you know football? The NFL season is well underway, and that means you have a chance to 1,000 times your cash on daily fantasy football. Football has never been more exciting than it is right now with players like Jackson Dart, Devon Achane, right? Jamar Chase, etc. And you can pick on stats for these stars like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for up to 1,000-time payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right and you could win big. Use promo code Phinside and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Now, terms and conditions do apply, but if you sign up right now, no deposit required, you will get a free $20 from Sleeper put into your account to play with. You can play on the night game with it. You can play on the Monday night game with it. Go check out Sleeper today and support the channel. Guys, I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate y'all coming through. Yo, Thieneman is a very good safety. Very underrated. He's going in the first round too. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. The Dolphins beat the Bills. Fins up. We'll see y'all on the next one.